Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Bad for Your Health Entertainment. I'm Tom, joined by my main man,
Dunnzilla.
and tonight we're joined once again by a good friend of the page, good friend of mine, the amazing Spider-Man himself, Dan Poole, best known for his work on the Green Goblin's Last Stand. Dan, how's it going tonight?
It's going great. Thanks for having me back. It's a ton of fun. Nice to meet you, Ben, finally.
Pleasure to have
Anytime. Dunnzilla, how are you, bud?
Not bad. Pretty good. You?
I'm doing good, man. It's good time, good weekend.
Yeah.
Let's kick it into gear. Let's just go with it, guys.
Go.
Tonight we're talking about the legendary Amazing Spider. Well, actually, it wasn't Amazing Spider-Man. It was in all three titles. The legendary Spider-Man story, Kravens Last Hunt, written by J.M. DeMatteis, illustrated by Mike Zeck and Bob McLeod. And it's an iconic storyline. There you go. There it is. Part 5.
Yeah.
Part 5. It's spread throughout Web of Spider-Man's 31 and 32. Amazing 293 and 294, and Peter Parker the Spectacular 131 and 132. Dan, you were there back in the day when it came out.
I was there. I watched them draw this. Yes.
You were there. I mean, like, you were there. Were you getting ready to make the Spider-Man movies around the time that this story came out? It was 87-ish, right?
Yeah, no, this was before I got the bug. Did you see what I did there?
Nice.
Right around 88. So this was right around that time. Maybe this was one that pushed me over. No, it was right around the time, but not yet. No, 88 was when I read Stan's thing and got crazy.
Yeah.
So not yet.
But you remember, were you when we spoke about Green Goblin's Last Stand, you told me how crazy you were about Marvel. You were a Marvel fan, and you had so many titles.
Oh yeah, I had. It started with Amazing Spider-Man, and then what's funny is I don't know what everybody's origin story is about how they learned of comic books and comic book titles and stuff, but I just like Spider-Man, like drawing him. I got the book How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way when I was like 12, and I still do. Oh my God, I love that book. I still own it. I still use it sometimes, but the point being, I didn't actually start collecting comic books until a couple years later. There was a local comic book shop, and I grabbed Amazing, and then I noticed there was a Peter Parker Spectacular, and I didn't understand. I remember my confusion. It was like comic book collecting 101. Like, no, there's another title, and then slowly it was explained to me that, oh yeah, well, he's so popular, they have to kick out, other titles for other teams to write and draw it so they make more money because the demand is there. So then there's Spectacular that began in the 70s, and then there's Web of, and I was telling you, Tom, earlier that I was really excited for Web of.
That iconic cover with him in the black suit, #1.
Was that Web? Yes. Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Right. But what was exciting was that I was alive and collecting when it debuted. And so there I was, when you think of, fathers, grandfathers, uncles, whatever, that were collecting in the 60s and 70s for Peter Parker, Spectacular. And then a new title rolled out. I was like, oh, I get the first. That was really cool. And I had hoped it would sustain itself like it had. So that was pretty exciting for me. And then I was getting all 4 titles of Spidey because
Team Up, right?
Oh man, I Team Up, What If, yeah, all of them. Then I got Avengers, X-Men, and then I could go down the list of Marvel stuff. I didn't get any DC stuff. I just didn't have the money or the time. Like, make mine Marvel, baby.
Make mine Marvel. So do you remember what the first Spider-Man book you ever bought was? It was Amazing. Do you remember the issue? Everyone usually remembers their first.
Yeah, you never forget your first.
I do. I remember.
I do too.
Tell me while I'm thinking about it. What was yours?
Dunnzilla.
Spider-Man 34, the Vengeance storyline. Actually, I had Bob McLeod sign part 1 and 2. So
that's cool.
Yep.
That is pretty cool.
I got it.
I was there.
I bought it back at a gas station in New Hampshire when I was a kid.
Oh.
I was like maybe 7 years old.
Wow. And you knew enough to want to hang on to it at 7?
I actually still have it. It's all beat up, but I have a nice mint copy, but I still have that first one. It's all beat to shit, but I still got it.
I'm sure it's wrinkled at the top where you were holding it with one hand on a lot of nights?
Oh yeah.
See, that's never mind.
Mine was Amazing 415. That was when that was during the Onslaught crossover, and Spider-Man was fighting it was actually Ben Reilly at the time, and Ben Reilly was like on the building looking down, and the Sentinel was like looking up, and I just was like, I knew the Sentinels from the X-Men cartoon, and I was like, whoa, fighting Spider-Man. Then I'm like reading about Ben Reilly, and I was like, who the hell's Ben Reilly? And then the Onslaught, and then I was like, I loved Onslaught, but the whole clone thing, Dan, you and I, we've talked about that a zillion times. I just roll my eyes at the whole.
It's been so
Marvel with their
overdone.
Marvel with their clonage,
and now it made its way into Star Wars. The whole clonage thing. Oh, Snoke was a clone of Palpatine. Whatever. That's a different conversation.
Yeah.
Right. I can't think. I actually can't think of my first one because I don't know that there was I don't know that there was an issue that was such an iconic cover or story that grabbed me. I just knew I just started compiling them. I just started grabbing. I can tell you the only book that ever grabbed me from the cover that I remember, because I'm sure there are plenty. The reason I got into the Avengers was because of a cover. I'd have to go rummage through the boxes to find out what number. But it was a couple of the Avengers. It was the team. It was mid or late 80s, and it was Thor with the beard, and he was on the front. And
Eric Masterson Thor. The Eric Masterson Thor.
I think so. I can't swear to it, but the Thor was the Walt Simonson Thor.
Yep.
Where he had just gotten punched through the Rainbow Bridge by Surtur, and it was the next issue where he was like steaming and coming back, and he had damage all over. I always dug that.
That's cool.
When they had damage to the superheroes. Just again showing the Marvel. These guys are vulnerable in some way, or at least the fabric they build their costumes out of are. So I remember that issue. I don't remember the number, but I had Simonson signed that one at a convention. That was pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Spidey wise, I don't have an answer for you guys, but it makes me wonder. I actually might go sift through the books later and see if one jars a memory. But
damn,
yeah.
Every story's got a good story. But you were there at the beginning of Web of, and were you reading Web of the whole time?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
My life was working all week at the National Aquarium in Baltimore at the time. I would take the bus home, get off the bus, and go to Comic Book Kingdom in Lauraville, Baltimore City. Grab my titles, whatever was in for me for the week, because that's how I was doing it then, man. I was ordering. I signed up for titles, and when they came in, he just took a nice brand new copy and put it in the pile for me and whoever was signed up to subscribe. Then I walked home, 4 blocks, put them next to the desk, and then after running around doing whatever all weekend, Sunday night, man, turn on some classical music and just read my stories,
Yeah.
Howard Jones.
No Howard Jones. Put him in the classical category. But I was reading all kinds of titles, man. Absolutely devoured them when I got them.
Now, this was back when comics came out on Friday, right? It was the Friday days. So when around the time Kravens Last Hunt came out, were there any rumblings like where was like the guy saying, was anyone saying to you, hey, there's really big storylines coming out with Kraven?
I got to say, no, it wasn't like that. The guy that ran the shop, he might as well have been running an antique store or a flea market for all he cared. He just knew comics made money. So he just had them lined up. And I can't say there wasn't a culture or a vibe like there has been since, at least in my neighborhood. I just knew where to get them. I knew where to get my fix. I knew where my man was. I got them. I don't even remember talking comic books to friends back then. No, none of my friends were into them. No. And I really got into them for the art and everything they bring us, the stories. And I mean, nobody saw them like we see them. I mean, people might tune into this and be like, I don't get it. Like, yeah, I know you don't, and you don't have to watch. But no, there was no vibe. There was no rumblings. There was no, I didn't have my finger on the pulse of comics. But when those issues came on Friday, I was just like, yeah, cool. So
So
I
you
wish.
got all of them when they go into Kravens Last Stand. I was doing a little bit of research myself, and I guess apparently DeMatteis had pitched it as a Wonder Man series with his brother, the Grim Reaper, burying him, and then Wonder Man having to come back, and then that was not approved. I believe Tom DeFalco was the editor-in-chief at the time.
That would have been cool.
DeFalco.
That would have been awesome.
Because DeFalco was the EIC here, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So he just kept it in his pocket. He was just like, oh, sounds great, but you know what?
But DeMatteis pitched it to him, and then I guess he pitched it to DC at one point, and then I get as a Batman, Joker, or Hugo Strange story, which they ended up doing, I guess, in Legends of the Dark Knight. I was reading about it a little bit before. But then DeMatteis had pitched it with an original villain, and I guess when he was writing the original Marvel handbook, like of all the characters, that big thing that came out way back in the day, he saw Kraven, and he was like, this could work.
Wait, Tom, I got to ask you about that. The Marvel Encyclopedia.
I think that's what it was back in the 80s.
Yeah, but it was. So, are you saying it was just one graphic novel, one thing?
I don't know what it was. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Oh, because what was cool, because I'm sure it is now one bound, book, but I have all the issues. When the Marvel Encyclopedia came out in issues, man, and
the index.
Yeah. Marvel Universe. Yeah, it was pretty neat, man. Sitting there like, oh, that's how tall Spidey is. Oh, really? Right? Like 5'8" or some shit, 5'9". I
might have misspoke on that, but that's how he got in the whole Kraven. He was like, hey, we could use something with Kraven here.
Right. Let me go to my notes here. I made notes for this. So if we get into each issue, I got notes, man.
You got the notes.
I got notes.
Kraven's first appearance was Amazing 15.
Was it really?
It was amazing because I almost made the mistake at a convention. Dunnzilla, you remember this? Mm-hmm. I think it was had to be one of the Terrificons, and it was like an Amazing 37 or something like that. I don't know the exact number, but it was the one where Spider-Man's on the roof, on the side of the building, and Kraven's like jump on him. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I think that's first Kraven. And I was like, I was thinking about buying it. I had my money out. It was like $60 book because it was like a near mint. And I was like, I don't know, Dunnzilla, what do you think? And he's like, I don't think that's his first appearance. And I'm like, yeah, I think you're right. So thank God I didn't buy it.
I think that was his second appearance or third.
Yeah, it was like second or third.
Yeah.
But what I didn't know, I forgot about, was he was Chameleon's stepbrother.
Kraven?
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Really? I didn't know that. Wow. That's interesting.
We could do a whole show on that.
That's an underused character, Chameleon.
Oh, dude, Chameleon is so underrated.
Stepbrother? Well, who married who? So his mother killed Kraven's mom. Now you got me thinking about the Kravenoff bloodline. Like, who got remarried?
Well, Kraven was what, like 70 years old at the time of Last Hunt?
Right. He was a Highlander.
He was a Highlander. The Russian Highlander.
You know what struck me as I reread these earlier was how he's like, I'm going to die soon. I must die soon. Like he was tired. I must die soon. Like, man, I'm done, dude. I'm like, I'm out. I just got.
And that was the one thing I actually dug about it rereading. Not a lot happens. Like, it's all in the head.
Yes. Yeah.
It's all like, well, and one of the issues is like straight up Kraven's point of view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found the first thing that struck me was how dark. Well, the first thing that struck me was when you open up. Where's it start? Web of 30.
Yeah, Web of the first panel.
Yeah, first. Well, it's a page. The panel's is big. Yeah, he's in the Spidey pose. Love that. And
he rips that gorilla's head off.
Just like straight palms it off, and I'm like, is that supposed to be a stuffed gorilla? I'm like, he's really strong, Yeah, it's an interesting, and also the way. Yeah, there you go. In case anyone's wondering.
Holy crap!
Yeah,
that's bad. Johnny caged him. Holy shit!
Right, and he ain't no more. Yeah, all the way they used the words too in different panels, like come out. I don't remember seeing I don't remember the usage like that. Well, of course, this is a pretty specific story or saga, but the way the graphics were used, the text was pretty neat, to illustrate.
Like the lettering.
Yeah, man, just that detached. I think everything about this run, just the way it was done in that style of thoughts, and it was thought driven, and
Yes.
everybody, like even Mary Jane. And
when she's trying to kill the rat later I think it was issue 1. All
of it. Every time a new character is introduced, they've got like we start on their thoughts, and they're almost always dark. And I'll bring this up in case we run out of time and I forget. But did you guys notice how every single book is night and rainy?
Yep.
It's raining
rain
until he lures vermin up, and then it's bright out, and then the sun sets on Craven's grave. I had to go back and make sure I was looking at that. I was like, oh gosh, dark and rainy again. Oh, it's dark and rainy again. It's just one of those elements that you just, for me personally, I don't really perceive, but somewhere it's setting in, and it helps with the story and the mood. And I'm like, just another thing that people might blow off when they think of comic books, but you think there was some thought behind this,
There was thought and character, and as you said, it was a contrast between the light of the story, the darkness of the actual story, and almost the darkness of the characters is yet still illuminated with that light. And it was just kind of like, as you said, Dan, not everyone would pick up on that, and we've all been bit by the Marvel bug, and we get it.
Yeah, it's. I just always said that. I've always said every single issue of every decent comic book is a movie waiting to be done, and here's your script and storyboard. Your storyboards
exactly.
And this.
It's right here.
This is one of the best examples, because I think of when they do comic book composition, the panels really dictate the pacing. And
yes.
And I noticed in this run more than maybe ever, as far as putting thought into it. Because a lot of times, I'll be honest with you, I don't necessarily pick the books apart a lot for art, but I appreciate it as I go. But going back and wanting to pay attention, so when we, for tonight's show, I really paid attention and really appreciated how the panels dictated the pacing, with like long ones that are horizontal that just have a little bit going on each time, and it really made you slow down and appreciate it. Almost, it was so cinematic. Is
exactly. I was just because it was cinematic. You could almost see like an actor sort of walking and the camera cutting. Even just simple scenes. It's Kraven going into the tombstone, saying, "I must die."
Yeah, it really impressed me. It was good. It's good storytelling, and it's definitely its own art form. How it leads you the way it wants you to consume it. We're going to slow here, big here.
That inspired you to do what you did with Goblins Last Stand, because some of your shots in that movie are straight comic shots.
Yeah,
straight.
One of the coolest things I've seen. Sorry, I'm just got to throw this out there. But I don't see a ton of them in the MCU. I see a few, but the ones that stick out and grab me and excite me, the best one. I was a big Simonson fan. I was a big Thor fan. Man, in was it Ragnarok, when he comes back to fight his sister?
Hela.
Yeah, and he channels the lightning, and there's that big wide shot, and he's silhouetted, and the lightning bolt, and he's over the crowd. Oh my God, man. I've rewound that a couple times, but I remember seeing it in the theater, just going, like that's what you read the books for, man. That just that images, man. You weren't getting that imagery.
And that shot of his one good eye lighting up with lightning and shit.
Yes. Yeah.
The poster shots. That's what it was all about.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Well,
the superheroes in that dramatic pose that just sort of.
Yeah. Yeah. That was fun stuff, man.
That was the movie, pretty much.
Really, really was. So, the same thing with these, and how the panels led you to the iconic pages. A lot of them in this series were the very opening, the very ending of each book, which was it's really cool. Also, you got to wonder about the marketing side of this. They're like, well, let's just not leave it in Amazing. We could probably push some Peter Parkers and Web of if we did like a little crossover here.
It's funny you say that because I guess originally it was supposed to be in Peter Parker Spectacular.
There you go.
They were just going to do a 6-issue, and then they were like, "This is too cool to be in just one title," and they spread it out all 3 with the same creative team.
That I did not know until I was looking this morning, making notes. And a name you failed to mention that impressed me was the colorist. Did you notice who the colorist was? I'm a big fan.
Bob Sharon?
No, I'm a big fan of her work, and I'm surprised she found time to do this back then because she was kind of at the height of her career, arguably. Miss Janet Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Bob Sharon was in it too with Zach.
Yeah, I know. It's I was surprised that the same creative team did it throughout the, because I thought I was, going back. I honestly never really remembered.
You
I
never really followed specific writers or artists, did you?
Not until I got to say, oh my God, Peter David, writer, and then
Writer.
but I started to take note of what he was doing, and I became a huge Walter and Louise Simonson fan.
Awesome.
And Romita was just so stylistic, and Romita Jr. and then of course my man McFarlane when he came along. So the ones that really made me pay attention, I'll say that I just consumed them for what I enjoyed about them, and then when a certain artist or certain writer really got my attention, I was like, who did that? And then I did follow them a bit. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Dunnzilla, you've had a few that you followed over the years. I mean, I admit it. I follow McFarlane.
Oh yeah, I was a huge Walter Simonson Thor guy.
So fun. So fun.
Peter David, I followed when I was a kid. And then obviously Todd with his Spider-Man run.
Yeah.
Who Mark Grunwald's Captain America run grabbed me when I was getting into comics. It was Mark Grunwald.
Oh, and Ron Lim, Silver Surfer. Ron Lim, great artist.
Yeah, good call.
Great call. Yeah. That was a great.
I had his was it Lim? Might not have been Lim. It might have been never mind. Never mind. It might have been Jusko. Jusko might have did a Joe Jusko. There was another guy, and of course
Joe Jusko.
Yeah, Double J.
J. Yeah, I had a Silver Surfer. God, I need to go back and find out who that was, but I cut out the poster and laminated it to just glued it to some poster board. So it was a little, so it had some substance, and then glued it to my basement bedroom wall, and then painted the whole wall like the galaxy, and had him in the middle.
Awesome.
It was
that's
cool.
pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. It was my man boy cave. Yeah.
What was the poster of again? I'm sorry. What was the poster? Surfer.
Yeah.
You remember the pose? Like, what was he like?
Yeah, coming at you.
Classic surfer.
Power Cosmic lit up in one hand, man. Yeah, it was all over the Marvel universe, man. I love so many books, characters, titles, man. I even got a Punisher, the Nom I got into, Power Pack, if you remember that fact.
Oh, I remember Power Pack. Nomad.
Yeah, all that. Anyway, all right, so I'm sorry. I want to keep focused on a message.
But you know what was funny? You said the very first panel. I don't want to jump ahead, but what struck me when I was rereading it was how the first issue starts in the first panel in the second issue. Boom.
Oh, good call.
Nice little contrast there.
Yep.
Nice.
Oh,
it's doing the same pose.
No, man. We'll stay on that.
Go, Dan. Yeah, I know, dude. I see your light bulbs going off. Go.
Go for it, man.
Yours, man.
So it's been a long time since I read these. So, because Tom, you asked me a while ago what were some of my favorite storylines, and obviously the Green Goblin's Last Stand, the day Gwen Stacy died, and then this, like a lot of people, just stands out. But I hadn't read it since I first read it. So going back but before I dug them out of my collection, I started to think about the black costume. Or no, I'm sorry. It's when I had them out. I had them sitting around my place for a week. And I noticed the black costume, and I thought, this had to be after Venom. But in my mind, I was thinking, but it seems too early for Venom. Definitely Secret Wars because he's got the black costume. But I'm thinking, can you imagine if Kraven didn't know that was a symbiote?
Oh my God, yeah.
Wow.
He had to mess with him, and then the suit just whipped his ass real quick after he shot Spider-Man. I just thought about that as a what if for a while. And so what I asked you when we were getting ready earlier is that's what I didn't research that I really wanted to research before we did this show is
like where it fit in the timeline.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it was a few months before. It was what? Amazing 294 was the last one. Venom didn't show up till what? 298 when you see his arm or whatever.
297. Right?
That was 8.
Wasn't that his arm or his hand?
Historians. I love it.
Because 99 is when he's doing the whole honey I'm home.
So
yeah, it was 298. Yeah.
So that was Todd's first issue.
Yeah, where you just see the hand. Yeah.
And then like before this, like the issues before that were like part of the Hobgoblin shit, and then some robot in Pittsburgh, or it was just weird stuff.
Great title for a number of things.
The robot in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, his name's Ben Worthless Booger.
It was like some purple thing, and he's like, and Peter's like,
oh,
the Spider Slayer.
No, it wasn't a Spider Slayer because those I don't think those showed up till a little later.
Oh yeah, that was in the 300s. That's right. Yeah.
All right, so but then it got me, and not to get off on a tangent, but maybe you can help me just clean it up real quick in my head. So timeline wise, he finds out this thing's, and I was explaining this to somebody that asked me about the black costume. I was like, oh yeah, the Secret Wars, man, the Beyonder, and
Beyonder was so awesome.
It was great, man. I'll never forget whoever wrote that issue, but when he came to visit Peter Parker and he was in this like all white,
that Star Trek thing.
Yeah, and he goes, he decided to take a human form to come see what all the fuss was about being a human, right? And he said to Peter Parker, I have this pressure in my lower abdomen. And he's like, you gotta go to the bathroom. He's like, what's that? I never forgot that wording. I have this strange pressure in my lower abdomen. So I've used that line for a millennia now. Anyway,
seems like a lifetime ago, doesn't it? Since those books came out.
Yes, it does. But so he got tired of. Well, he separated himself from the alien, and then Eddie Brock got it, and they scurried off.
See, it's weird because I thought he separated from the symbiote in like Web of #1. Like the whole scene, like the one in the church.
Yeah.
300. I thought that was
300 went back and kind of revisited that.
Okay, but it was
300's over there. I'm not going to get it.
Right. But then it made me wonder. It made me have to think back. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Why did he just not go back to his red and blues right away? Like, did he go, oh, but everybody knows me in the black suit now, and it's nice to have formal wear? Like, did he just like want to keep it for why would he want?
He kept it really until like what 301?
Yeah, 301 was where he wore the red and blue again.
Okay, so this is leading right up to it.
Yeah, this was a couple of months before Venom, the whole 298, 299, 300, and then McFarlane's legendary run on the title.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll ask you guys this. I'm gonna jump since we're talking about the costume. I'm gonna jump to one of my last notes about this saga. Is that Kraven going through I am the Spider. One of the things I kind of dug in rereading this was it was funny how he went on this kind of journey of discovery, and how Kraven, even though he had a plan and he knew this was his, last stand, how he actually came to have respect for Spider-Man as his role as just in his life, as far as an adversary, in however he framed that. And even
I always interpreted it as Kraven, as you said, grew to respect Spider-Man, and he kind of understood I am the Spider. But now then I always kind of got it as always a man.
Yeah. But
the big difference between Kraven and Peter Parker was obviously Peter Parker's compassion and humanity, and love. Craven has love, but Craven has a very unique sense of code and honor.
And he says that, right? He says, "Oh, he's a man, a good man."
A good man.
Yeah, but now you got me thinking, oh, no wonder Craven was always after Spider-Man. He just likes smashing critters. He's like, oh, Spider-Man.
Yeah, you know, in issue 2, actually, was it issue 1 or 2, where he's like eating the spiders, where he's like, and Peter's having the nightmare.
Yeah.
Nuts.
So my note was, after all he went through and all the respect that he wanted from his or for his family, but they buried him, as per his wishes, obviously, in the Spider-Man costume.
Weird.
Yeah, just, and his head was still
because it was like the one thing he could never. He finally did the one thing he couldn't do. He beat Spider-Man
pretty quickly, by the way. Like, even when I was like rereading, I thought he did that like a couple panels, didn't he? And
a couple panels, and he took him down with the net and the drug, and then, you know, come on, Craven, guns aren't your thing. Stop being such a wimp or whatever. And all of a sudden, Craven's just got the gun, and he's just like,
blam,
and then everything just goes black.
Spidey's like, oh, I've seen this before. Oh, what time we've done this episode? He's going to drag me to a warehouse, and, you know, he's going to pontificate around for a few minutes, and then I'll figure something out.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm in a grave. Neat.
But the grave was so cool because it's like, I mean, Zach's artwork is just great. I don't want to show all the artwork because people might want to actually read the trade or whatnot, but like, shows him obviously bigger than Peter, remorse, and then just
yeah, he's a crazy person. I dug that about. You know, isn't that what makes the coolest villains, like the Green Goblin, Doc Ock? They get so much joy out of, you know, causing trouble.
Yeah.
But Craven just got so much fun hunting.
Yeah.
He was really good at it.
The
you know,
sport.
he just dropped off in a helicopter, and he's like, yeah, he's over there in Manhattan, right? But then Spider-Man kind of does the same thing. So now I'm going to just have some fun. We all know this is a really cool series, man. Spanned, you know, 3 titles, and it was very interesting. It was unlike anything else that was going on that I was reading. But then I have to ask, all right, where was this mansion / compound / graveyard? He does say he's in a grave, you know, he's hundreds of miles away. So I'm like, okay, maybe upstate New York, right?
Yeah.
But then they're in Manhattan, and, like, you know, another page. Even Spidey, who can't fly.
Yep. Rereading that, I thought the same thing. I'm like, they're not in, you know, Central Park. They're not in. I'm like, I kind of attribute that to how did Christian Bale re-enter Gotham City in Dark Knight Rises?
Oh God!
Totally skipped it. It just showed up.
Let's just skip a major, like,
Just
something that
walked away
would take.
Oh, what's up? I'm here to save.
Oh, no, I saw a YouTube. I saw a YouTube video about that, and they answer every single one of those plot problems with the same answer, because he's Batman. That's it. Because so yeah, they bury him there, and then they so let's take out the distance time travel, but then Spidey just magically knows where Craven is after he
wounded, mind you, he's wounded with no larynx and everything, and
maybe the guards, the two guys that he beat up, you know, or threatened, maybe they just said, yeah, he's in his townhouse. He's in his townhome in you know, in Queens, or not Queens, but like the Village. He's in the Village at the
Village, man.
But then after Craven pits Spidey against Vermin, and then, you know, lets Spidey go catch him.
Yeah.
Spidey just knows right where to go find Vermin in the city.
Well, they had met, I think, once before.
Oh, you guys got to tell me when Captain America. They kept referencing Captain America and Spider-Man beating up Vermin.
Marvel Team Up 128.
Bam! All right, I'm going to check that out. 128. Okay.
And Vermin first appeared in Cap 272, which that was during Zek's run on Cap.
So Zek, that's Zek's boy.
Got a thing.
Zek was cool. Zek was cool when I met him.
Oh yeah.
Not my favorite, not my least favorite.
He was all right.
Yeah, he was all right.
He probably had a rat calf tattoo.
He was just, when I met Mike Zek, he was just kind of sitting there. He had his pen, his glasses. He had like a nice shirt, and people were just handing him Kravens Last Hunt and like some other things. I brought him one, and I brought him the Cap thing, and he goes, "Oh, I don't get a lot of caps. You want the print?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." He's like, $10. I'll even sign it for you. I was like, "Hey, cool.
Nice.
Thanks, Zach." I don't think I called him Mike.
Zach. Big Z.
No, but what were your thoughts back in the day reading it where Craven in the end of part 5 just commit suicide?
Yeah, man, different. I had by then really come to appreciate Marvel for doing all the stuff that they, were known for doing. And it was definitely, spoiler alert.
The guy with Full Metal Jacket on himself.
Right. Private Pile. Right. The friggin' hunt will be over by the time you get your ass up there.
Hey, Joker.
You think you're Spider-Man? Oh my God. We're gonna do a whole show on Full Metal Jacket, Kravens Last Hunt. Oh.
I'm in.
We could somehow compare it to The Abyss.
It's a great movie.
Oh, there's nothing like the first half of that movie.
No way.
It was. I will say this, Tom. It was shocking. It was shocking because they didn't do a whole lot of blood. The whole thing was about death, but comic books were always about. You fight this guy, you get the best of him, he gets the best of you. You see each other again, you put him away. You fight the problem, but you'll see
the never-ending serial.
Yeah, which is fine when they reinvent it and you find another way to do it. That's cool. But then he eats a bullet because he's done. He's proved he's got nothing left to prove. He's got no one left. He's just kind of done. And I was like, I remember thinking, well, he ain't coming back. It's not some gimmick where. You might, Cat goes in the ocean or, the surfer, whatever.
Yeah.
They're gone for a little while.
The typical Marvel thing where they go away and then come back. Phoenix is a prime example.
And that's fun because you kind of have that anticipation. Oh, I wonder how they're going to bring them back,
Yeah.
But this was like, oh, that's the end of Craven. Like some relative might have taken his place over time. But I mean, Craven, the hunter.
His daughter, I think.
Gone.
I think his daughter took his place.
There you go. So you knew that would happen. But as far as this man that we knew as an adversary for Spider-Man, I thought, wow, that was pretty definitive right there.
Not many Spider-Man villains were killed off at that time. I mean, what, Goblin?
Right. I can't think of any others that were.
I can't think of Doc Ock was always floating around.
Goblin and Craven.
Yeah, it was
pretty much.
Yeah, that was pretty. It was kind of heavy for a comic book.
Yeah,
it was kind of heavy. I was like, oh.
The other thing about it was Craven had proven what he wanted to do, which was beat Spider-Man and almost be his superior. When I was reading that, I was like, Marvel ended up doing that with Doc Ock. Done. What was it like? 20? That was almost 10 years ago when they did Superior Spider-Man, right?
2012.
Almost 10 years ago. Yeah, when Doc Ock became Peter, and it was just, I'll be better than he ever was. I will be the superior Spider-Man.
Spider-Man 700.
Yeah.
Wow. The big anniversary issue, yeah.
Wow.
It made me think of that for a second, because that's all Craven wanted to do. Was just
Doc Ock became Spider-Man, and Peter was dead.
That's all after my time.
It was a little after mine, because I haven't really picked up a Spider-Man issue in, God.
Yeah.
2009.
Long time, yeah.
It's certainly just endlessly entertaining. Yeah, I'm just looking at all the covers spread out here on my table.
All cool covers. All just so well done by Zach.
Yeah.
Just fun beautiful. Stuff. And the colors by Janet Jackson. It's just main colorist. Janet Jackson.
She was so talented. He was so
multi-talented.
Draw, color, everything.
Yeah. Actually, just listened to some of her music the other day.
What happened?
I said I was just listening to some of her music the other day.
Oh, nothing wrong with that. I was listening to Howard Jones the other day.
Oh my God! You love to hit me with that.
That's a true story, man. You and I were texting one time back and forth, Dan, and I was driving. I was not texting and driving. I had the audio going through, so it would say, Dan Poole says this, and then all of a sudden my next song came on. It was Howard Jones' Equality. I was like, oh, dear God.
Dan's controlling my radio. This is ridiculous.
I'm like, what the hell is this?
Never forget. Never forget.
Never forget Howard Jones.
That's right.
So Dan, when back in the day when you were getting ready to make Goblin, we talked about this briefly. You had considered doing a Craven short. Am I right on that?
No, not a short. I had considered very seriously making him. In fact, Tom, he was going to be part of that 4-minute action trailer that I was telling you about, where it was going to be. So once I found out, because I had hung up the tights, right? I was done. I was like, I had done this 50-minute, The Quick and the Dead with Bullseye and Kingpin. Again, what I considered terrestrial characters.
Yep.
Nothing crazy. They can't fly. They can't do. I mean, they were just the Kingpin, Bullseye. All right, I can work with that. And then I just didn't know what else I could do with zero money. I had a ton of friends and great support, but none of us were, I mean, none of us knew how to do that crazy shit. So I find out Cameron's involved, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta. How can I impress this guy? We're doing Venom, right? My first thought was Venom, and to be honest, I'll bet you I know, right? But I just wanted to see. My first thought was, who do I want to see Spider-Man fight? And my first thought was Venom. And then I went to, and they all might have flooded at one time. But I do remember thinking of the people I could pull off, Craven would be right there. But I didn't, I can't totally remember and give you an honest answer about why I didn't do him before this, but he was part of my, the slated villains that I was going to put in this 4-minute action trailer. I was going to have just a quick scene, just anything, any quick action scene of the Green Goblin, Craven, Doc Ock, maybe the Vulture. Who am I missing? Shit. Doc Ock, and Venom. And so I had Eric start working on the Venom mask.
That's my Vulture impression, the old Vulture.
So I was going to do it. But then the Green Goblin just took on a life of its own. That whole project just ballooned out of I don't know, I got obsessed with it, man. So I just shelved the other guys. I was like, you know what? I can get 4 minutes out of the Mysterio footage we have and the previous stuff. And you saw a little bit of the Bullseye stuff in that trailer. Yeah, I wanted to do Craven. I did. I thought it'd be a lot of fun.
How would you have done it?
Yeah, I think I was telling you, I would have went to listen to the bodybuilder from a local gym or something. Been like, it's not what you think. It's not what you think. Yeah, right. And, some adult actor. My cousin was into bodybuilding. He might have done it. Although he played Wolverine, so he was a little short to play Craven. But yeah. I just would have had to have found a bodybuilder and talked him into just putting on this ridiculous outfit and jumping around a little bit. That's it. I mean, it's
simple as that.
Yeah, and it just would have been. You know what it would have been, Tom? It probably would have been, hey, do me a favor, get all pumped up, wear this, loincloth and this lion's mane, and I'm gonna get a mini trampoline. I'm just gonna do some flips over you, stuff like that. I'm gonna, if I elbow you, act like it really hurt. Then you can throw. I'm gonna let you throw a spear at me too. That'll be fun. Yeah, I don't know. I would have made him. I would have said, "Are you afraid of heights? I'm gonna need you on a rooftop."
That'd be great. All you need is an outtake of Craven the Hunter,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Probably would have had him snacking on a pigeon, like watching Spidey swing by and then go chase him. I don't know, man. But I did.
The funny thing about Craven is out of all the Spider-Man villains, all the movies that Sony did that are, we've talked about it a couple of times. You and I have talked about it for almost 20 years now. Mm-hmm. Craven's the one they've never tried out of all the legends, and I don't even know if you want to put Hobgoblin in the legendary category.
I might. He was a big part of the 80s, man, for me.
Big.
But it's probably because he's arguably he just doesn't have any superpowers, man. And I'll bet it'd be tough to drag that out. Unless it was this storyline. I don't know what Craven could really offer.
The funny thing is that I've read that he has been considered for projects, or at least small cameos, or the Sergei Kravinoff character appearing. But I was reading that, and I don't know who has. I think Sony has the rights to Craven, part of the deal that they had with the Spider-Man thing.
Yep.
I've heard everything from Marvel wanted to put him in the Black Panther movie at one point as a potential foe over Killmonger. I read that, which actually would have made sense.
Yep.
And then there's a rumor now that Keanu Reeves is going to play him in the Sony Marvel cinematic. What is it? What was the hell is it called? It was like the cinematic universe of Marvel characters that Sony has. That started with Venom.
Keanu actually turned that down.
Keanu turned it down?
Yep. But they still want to do something with Craven. They just don't know who they're going to cast.
The only direction you could really go, and Dan just hit it, he doesn't have any superpowers. Yeah. But you'd have to almost tell this specific story.
Or take the element of this story. I got to tell you guys, have you guys ever, I just don't know how alone I am in some of the dumb shit I've thought over the years about superheroes, but have you guys ever really given thought to how Spider-Man could be taken out? Like why supervillains haven't done certain things, like lure him into a room where the walls are just oiled.
All the time. All the time. How you could totally mess with somebody.
Yeah. So the way he gets him, it was. I really wanted to see. Well, he did. He didn't take 2 shots at him, but I always wanted to see basically a snowball fight where you do the lob, and as they're getting ready to duck that lob, you throw a line drive and drill somebody.
Yep.
Which is kind of how I feel like Craven got him in this one, and I'm like, that was easy. Is anybody taking notes? You know what I mean? Like. Doc
one of my favorite ways I ever saw a character get taken out, and it has nothing to do with Kravens Last Hunt, was Old Man Logan, which was a storyline Mark Millar did in the Wolverine continuity back. What was that done? 2010?
2008.
Same thing. And it was based, what was it, Mysterio?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Mysterio tricked Wolverine.
He tricked Wolverine into thinking all the villains were attacking him, but it was actually his own X-Men, and he killed them all.
Whoopsie.
It was like a huge. It was
he would have smelled them. He would have smelled them.
It was a huge splash panel of just all the X-Men just in a pile of dead, and he's just like, oh shit.
Yeah, right. So it's like, sir, the very noble but dangerous Sir Lancelot. Right? Be like.
Oddly enough, probably the funniest thing I ever remember about that story was the last one standing was Jubilee.
After 90 minutes of fighting Bullseye, and it was actually Jubilee as Bullseye.
Yep.
Wow. Jubilee lasted an hour and a half with Logan.
Went round and round. I can see that. She was a badass. The black costume. Now I want to go back and reread all about the black costume. Sitting here, the black costume was very cool, man.
Black costume was always cool back in the day, and they brought it back in 2000. Obviously, when Spider-Man 3 was coming out, they did that whole Back in Black storyline.
Yep.
We should.
It was all right.
Man, we should do a Secret Wars chat one night.
Oh hell yeah!
Because the black costume was only cool because of that. To me, I
agree.
Some arbitrary change never sat well. I like when they got creative about trying to make any changes, and
because it was new and fresh. Today, I feel like a lot of change. They change everything
for the sake. They
just basically put a fresh coat of paint on everything.
Yeah, I can't.
It's almost like everything is recycled over and over and over again.
Has to be. For the new generations of people that are just trying to catch up or introduced. Plus,
how many times have they done a Dark Phoenix story? At least 80 times by now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
In case you want to see it,
there's a Dark Phoenix storyline. It's like, okay, it's been done before.
In case you want to see it drawn by our new artist.
Yeah, this guy's writing it instead of this guy. And
I know when they brought Norman Osborn back, one of the weirdest things they did with him, and I know I told you this, Dan, last time we spoke, was they gave Norman Osborn the Carnage symbiote.
Awesome.
And then he merged it with the Goblin Serum, the Green Goblin Serum.
Yeah.
He merged the symbiote with the serum. It was messed up.
It was really messed up.
That just strikes me as one of those moments in one of the Sony Spider-Man films when something happens. And for me, it's always going to be when C. Thomas Howell gets on the radio and he has all the construction cranes line up. And I literally did this. And this is one of the several times I did it. I watched this unfold in front of my eyes in a movie theater. And I was like, are we okay with this? I'm like, is anybody else calling bullshit on this? I'm like, oh, okay. I did. I looked around to see if anybody was like, oh, they're buying it. You know, so they decided that was going to be in the final draft of the script, and they shot that, and then they watched it, and then they kept it in. I'm like, okay.
When I saw that scene, because I thought the Amazing movies I thought they sucked.
I told somebody recently, this is the best way I can explain it. People are like, oh, are you a fan of those movies? What did you think of them? I'm like, I could sit here and tell you all the things I don't like about them and the few things I do, but the simplest answer I can give you is I have seen each of those movies, whether it's Garfield or Maguire. I have seen each of those movies exactly one time, and I can watch these Tom Holland films over and over and over again. I can watch the Marvel versions. That's the simplest answer I can give.
I get the Holland hype. I do understand why people like him.
Well, and I didn't mean, I just meant to say when Marvel was able to, his inclusion in the MCU, when Sony basically said, can we come play, please? We're sorry.
That's basically what it was. Thank you for saying that, because that's basically what it was. They saw the writing on the wall, and after Amazing 2, disappointed at the box office with their 4 villains and just crappy storytelling.
And Marvel's crushing it.
Oh, crushed it. Winter Soldier versus Amazing 2 at the box office. Summer of 14, there was no contest.
And Sony's like, oh, so we are effing this character up. Oh, I see. Okay. So, when they came with their hat in their hands and Feige said, sure, but this is how we're going to do it. And we're like, yes, sir. Once he got involved, once Spidey was in with those, then, I'm 100%. It was a ton of fun. They're always fun. Love them.
I still prefer Toby, though, man. I think that's a nostalgia age thing for me. But
but you should, because that was your first. That was your introduction to the character in that venue, in that medium. So
in that medium it was. And then it was, it's funny. I actually remember watching the MTV Spider-Man before I watched a lot of the 94 cartoon.
Okay.
That cell colored CGI one that was crap.
Yeah, whatever your first impression is, I still hold a very soft spot. Anybody my age, the Electric Company. If you remember that show, it was like Sesame Street.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I never watched it.
It's the Electric Company.
Yep, and they had your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man come on every now and then. They had an actual like, oh look, I'm like, wow, that's really cool. I always think that was really cool. He wasn't perfect because they didn't let him speak, and so he didn't have any smart ass comments, and he didn't really do anything like action wise. But it was just cool that he was on the screen. And I would say, I would argue that if they couldn't pull it off, they didn't bother. And I was okay with that. All right, we're not going to have him do any kind of action or shoot webs because we can't do that. But we just want him to appear. And I was like, yes, cool, fun. So,
but he did do that in the 1970s show.
Mm-hmm. No, he didn't. Please let's not go there. Let's just so about Kraven.
I know we got to. We can't talk the whole story forever because we just kind of summed it up. Kraven beats Spider-Man in 2 panels, kills him, puts him in a comatose state, and he's buried for 2 weeks, and he's going around breaking people's necks. That's funny. That was actually the funniest part, I thought, Kraven in the costume. Giving guys reverse snapmares and just, elbowing dudes in the throat.
And for however implausible it was cool that Mary Jane saw him in the costume and was like, oh, I'm saved. Holy shit.
She's like, that's not Peter.
Yeah.
He's friggin' like 6'5", like 250.
You know what? Dude, we should do a what if where we start on this storyline and take it really seriously, and we get to that. What was that? Issue 2 maybe, or part 2, and she goes, "That's not Peter. That's not Peter. Hey, buddy.
Peter.
Like, let's go back to our place." And then she's like, "Oh, he was wearing your costume."
Didn't she do
But
that?
we could totally do a what if segment and just take the storylines into like a direction that would be cool. Like, what if Hulk couldn't lift the mountain?
Right. Right. And the Beyonder just keeps giving him a redo like it's Jumanji. Like, come on.
It's like Strange with the time stone with Dormammu.
Right. Do it again. Hey, how many scenarios does he hold this whole planet up? One? Shit. It's gonna be a long day.
Yeah, and Strange is just like
Right.
4,277,006 or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Just one. Yeah. Good stuff, man. The Marvel Universe, good stuff. So, I just want to, hey, Tom, before we sign off, if we're, coming to the end, I just want to make sure we always sign off if I'm on the show with, hey, Kevin Feige, I'm ready.
Give this man a call. This man has made the greatest Spider-Man video, and he's got the most creative knowledge in Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's due. Yeah. Cameron.
Give this man his due.
Yeah.
Me and Cameron just kind of, but I met Feige a couple times. He's a good dude, man. He's a good guy. I like him. When he first met me, it was really funny because he knew my name, and he was like excited to meet me. Seemingly,
man, your name carries a lot of clout with a lot of Spider-Man fans.
Right. And so I was excited to meet this guy. I wasn't even sure how to pronounce his name. It was early on.
I totally butchered it.
I think we all did.
Oh yeah, but as we're walking, my point being, I would see him at Comic-Cons before he was well known, before people knew who he was and what he looked like.
Yeah,
and I'd go up and say hi to him, and it just seemed like he had less and less excitement and respect for me the more his grew. Oh, was he Kraven to my Spider-Man? That mother no. The last time I met him, I walked up to him and said, "Hey, Kevin, how you been?" He's like, "Oh, Dan, hi." And then he introduced me to a friend of his, and he goes, "Dan, I don't know if these are exact words, but it's what it felt like." He said, "Oh, Dan made this little video a long time ago about Spider-Man." And I was like, "Is that where we are?" I was like, "Okay, all right, that's cool." Like, yeah. And I'm like, "And what did you do as a resume?" I'm sorry. Oh, just graduated film school. Okay.
While you swung off a rooftop in Baltimore.
Yeah. Whatever.
Sounds like his ego kind of took control of his.
I can't say. I still think he's a good dude. I always like talking with him. Always liked. Yeah, I met him 3 times. Always love talking with Kevin. Yeah, he's good.
Billions of dollars can change a man.
Sure.
Hey, money talks.
Look at Charlie Sheen.
Money talks.
I enjoyed our little in-depth discussion. It wasn't as in-depth. I knew we weren't going to go like in. I
was ready, man.
You were ready to go in on page 3, panel 4.
Yeah. Did you look? I'll tell you this. I did notice somewhere, and I decided not to go that deep, but I noticed the ink like outside of the line, like on somebody. I was like, like, wow, I never really looked at that. Yeah. Oh, now he's looking. Tom's looking, man. I'll find it. I'll find it. I'll shoot. I tell you what. I'll find it, and I'll shoot you a screenshot of or a picture of it because it's in part 1 or 2.
Yeah, shoot me that video. Shoot me that panel.
Yeah, we'll call it out, man. Now I'm
done. We could shoot that in my dad's garage.
Now I don't even want to know. I don't even want to ask about your father's garage.
I'm in. Let's do it.
Tell you when we're off live. Yeah, this was the weird part though. The whole like Kraven doing the getaway and it's just nuts.
Well, the way they covered it, with his whole the edibles he was doing, the potions and gassing himself with hallucinogens or whatever.
Gassed himself and was doing hallucinogens.
He drank a lot of kombucha, right? And then just started gassing himself.
When you were rereading it, Dan, did you have a favorite part? Like a favorite issue where you were just like, man, that grabbed me more than the other ones? Like, there was the imagery or anything like that?
Yeah, but not in a good way. I'll say that the first panel grabbed me because I love that pose. Yes, that was like, ooh, I remember this was fun. I will say also that it was fun to revisit how Craven just came into town and just grabbed Spidey, just grabbed him. I was like, damn, they made quick work.
I think the 4th issue had some of the best. Obviously the cover,
For sure.
and then Peter coming out of the grave.
Yeah. But there were several things that grabbed me in a way that was like, wow, I actually thought this was good writing, like the dialogue, because now I've got an ear for, on-screen dialogue, real actor dialogue, and I'm like, that is real comic booky dialogue. But the one thing
It
that
is
really
a little comic booky
is this is what got me, dude. You ready? No, it's not in there.
Show us.
No, well, this isn't the color part. This is a
Oh.
part that really got me. And so in the very beginning, when Spidey goes to that guy's funeral,
Yep.
and they're all and he's making a big deal out of death and everything, I'm like, what's with the money? Like, why is he throwing money at this guy's I just didn't get the cash. Like, Spidey's whipping out all this wad of cash and throwing it in this guy's collection.
Was it Mary Jane's? He probably took it from Mary Jane when she was doing those commercials in the soap opera.
Hey, Sticky Fingers, what are you doing with my it wasn't me. All the ones from your gig last night.
Nice.
Anyway, I have a building pressure in my lower abdomen that I'm going to.
As do I.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Dunn, you got anything in closing before we split up?
Nah, I'm good. Thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
It's a ton of fun. Yeah, I'm excited to do it whenever there's a need or fun. This is fun. I don't know how fun it is for your viewers, but I enjoy being here. So thanks for having me.
Few likes, many views. Hey, we do our
Fun
thing.
for all of us.
Yeah.
That's what we
Yeah,
We're
love.
not out to change the world. We just want to have a little bit of fun.
Just want to talk about comics, man. It's great.
Comics, movies, we're in for anything, man.
Yeah.
All right, I'm picking the next one, and it might very well be Secret Wars.
It's all you. We'll leave it up to you.
All right,
In closing, I want to thank everyone who tuned in tonight and watched. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, everything. We love it. Ooh, we're getting a couple of comments. David and Kelly Adams say, thanks, fellas, and it is fun. It is fun from Chelsea Langelier and Diane Langelier, two of our biggest fans.
All right, thanks.
In closing, though, before I sign off, I just want to say that this broadcast was brought to you by Tasty It Tuesday. Check out all of her bad for your health dishes on her Facebook page. I share a lot of her posts on the Facebook page. Dan, I'll send some of them to you if you want to check them out.
I do.
Also brought to you by R&B Catering and my main man, Peter Schreff at Out of This World Jewelry. For Dan Poole, Dunnzilla, thank you very much. And stay tuned next week. We have a special guest. Will be the writer of Daredevil from the 90s, Dan Chichester.
I will be tuning in. I'll be watching.
Excellent.
Nice.
Have a good
Dunnzilla,
week.
Dan Poole, I'm Tom. Good night, everybody.